what's up, y'all? Back with another one. Today we're gonna do the world of football in 7 maps. I've seen this guy's channel before. He's freaking sick. HIT C7s. So subscribe. I'm subscribing. Bada boom, bada ping. And let's get into it.
On a number of occasions, I've made maps for videos to help illustrate whatever nonsense I might be spouting at that moment in time, and also for my thumbnails in an attempt to convey whatever the video might be about. Whilst I would not claim to be a full-blown cartophile, which doesn't put you on any kind of register by the way, it just means that you like maps, you can deduce from this that I quite like maps, and as you presumably have already gathered, I certainly like football, so I thought why not make a whole video combining the two. Some of these maps are my own, some I have taken from Twitter or Reddit. I'll credit the original creator in those cases, but all say something about the world of football. Like this map, from Boiler PL8 on Reddit, which shows the way in which every country voted between Morocco and the United USA, Canada and Mexico bid to host the 2026 FIFA World Cup. I mean, it basically shows us that Morocco dominated the African vote and most of the rest of the world, with the exception of what looks like Brazil, Kazakhstan, China, France, Italy, and a handful of others either abstaining or voting for the United bid. Or this one, which I made for a video in the summer showing every country.
Hold on. Voted for Morocco, red. Voted for United States, blue. Spain's not allowed to vote? That is Spain, right? My geography is kind of trash. Damn. Alright.
L8 on. It basically shows us what looks like all of others either abstaining or voting for every country that has had a Premier League player over the years, except the Philippines should be coloured in red. As a rule, if the map is wrong, it's probably one of my own. Anyhow, without further ado, here is the world of football represented by 7 different maps.
My bad.
Countries that have won the World Cup. Of course, most of you won't be all that surprised to discover which countries have and haven't won the World Cup. It's pretty common knowledge among football fans, but it's still quite striking to see it illustrated on a map. Given that association football is often referred to as the global game, and deservedly so in many respects, it's noticeable just how concentrated the winners of world football's most prestigious international tournaments are in single corners of Western Europe and South America. 4 of Europe's 5 winners are all connected, with Spain sharing a border with France, and France sharing a border with both Italy and Germany. Meanwhile, England is only separated from them by a tiny body of water. In fact, a better way of putting it is that the furthest any European World Cup winners are from France is England, who are only 21 miles away in a straight line, less than the distance of an individual marathon. In South America, all 3 World Cup winners, Brazil, Argentina and Uruguay, share a border with one another. Ultimately, World Cup winning countries account for less than 7.5% of the world's total population, and less than 9% of the world's total land area. Interestingly, despite only having been running since 1991 compared to 1930 in the men's game, and despite only having had half the number of winners, this is what the map showing the Women's World Cup winners looks like. Already, there is slightly more diversity, with 3 continents represented rather than only 2, although the overall demographics are roughly the same due to the addition of the United States, but the loss of Brazil.
So he said 1930 is when the World Cup started, and it's every 4 years. So let's do some math here. 90 years divided by 4. Bitch, am I stupid? 20. 22. So out of 22 World Cups, there's only been 7 winners? Uruguay, Brazil, Argentina, England, Spain, Germany, France. That's crazy, dude. I wonder if that's just like, does that have to do with like the academy system in those countries or like the money put into football? That's crazy.
Countries who've had Ballon d'Or winners. The Ballon d'Or, for the benefit of any new viewers who may not be particularly huge football fans, is considered to be the most prestigious individual accolade within the sport, and is awarded to who a panel of journalists feel has been the best player in world football over a 12-month period at the end of each year, with the exception of this year. It used to be reserved for Europeans, but in 1995 it was opened up to players from all countries who were playing in Europe, and in 2007 it became a fully global award open to players from all countries regardless of where they were playing domestically. There have been 44 Ballon d'Or winners in total from 20 different countries, as you can see on this map now. As you can also see, Europe and to a certain extent South America, the most successful countries in football over the years, are the hotspots once again. Africa is represented through Liberia thanks to the country's current president, George Weah, who won the award in 1995. Meanwhile, the smallest nation represented is Northern Ireland, with a population of fewer than 2 million, which features thanks to George Bestcrown in 1968. If the Ballon d'Or had always been a global award, not restricted solely to either Europeans or those who played in Europe, here is how that map would look. The first thing you can probably notice is that Russia is no longer coloured, given its vast size, and that is because Lev Yashin misses out to Pele, and the other countries who miss out under that format are Scotland, Bulgaria, and the Czech Republic. This isn't my opinion, by the way. France Football selected new winners in 2016, resulting in 12 new winners and 12 former recipients missing out. Countries that have hosted the World Cup. In theory, this should be a fairly varied map, since World Cup hosts are supposed to be selected on the grounds of infrastructure and suitability rather than footballing talent, and in many ways it is. 5 of the 7 continents are represented, and given Antarctica is unlikely to host the World Cup until climate change turns into a tropical paradise and the rest of the world into wasteland, there is only really Australia not having hosted the World Cup in terms of continental representation that should come as any great surprise. Having said that, the continents of Asia and Africa, which are the world's largest continents in terms of both population and landmass, are still relatively poorly represented, each having hosted just one World Cup. The countries in blue, or at least what I thought was blue but admittedly looks quite like black now, namely Mexico, Brazil, France, Germany and Italy, have all hosted the World Cup twice, and the United States will be added to that list in 2026, whilst Mexico will become the first country to have hosted games in 3 separate World Cups. In fact, just for fun, here is what that map will look like once the 2 upcoming World Cups have taken place, with the USA added to the colours in blue or black, and Mexico assigned a fresh new colour, all of their own. 5 points if you can spot the tiny speck of red, otherwise known as Qatar. Zoom in close enough, and you might even be able to see a big brown envelope, a corrupt Amir, and Sepp Blatter in a jacuzzi full of oil and $100 bills. Allegedly.
It's a fact. In the new economy, average people are becoming millionaires faster and easier.
Most searched for football clubs by country. This is a map that wasn't of my own making, but one I found on Reddit a while back, posted by the user LolekBolek2003, although it has a JD Sports watermark, so I suspect they are the original creators and the ones deserving of accreditation. There are only 20 teams represented in terms of the most searched for clubs online in each country, taking data from Google I believe, and the most obscure of which has to be FC Lahti. Finns evidently aren't quite as fussed about overseas football as the other Nordic countries, or indeed most of the world, and Lahti, who aren't even one of Finland's biggest clubs, but are best known for their association with Jari Litmanen, and for being the Finnish legend's boyhood club, are the nation's most searched for team. The biggest takeaway from the map probably has to be the dominance of Real Madrid, with none of Barcelona, Liverpool or Manchester United even coming close to their level of representation. The exceptions to Real Madrid's hegemony largely come in Scandinavia, where Liverpool and Manchester United feature predominantly, the deep south of sub-Saharan Africa, where Manchester United reign supreme, and in the Far East, where a number of clubs feature. In much of Central and South America, as well as Western Europe, the most searched for teams are domestic ones. Countries where football isn't.
You think Madrid's so popular like because of Ronaldo? I mean, I know they were huge before he came, but I think like people in the U.S., like on the side of the world at least, were like, "Oh, Ronaldo's on Madrid. Let's be a Madrid fan now." Like that's just how big that motherfucker is. That's crazy. I could be wrong. They could have been fans before, but that's nuts. And then like Southern Africa united, but Northern Africa doesn't give a fuck except that country, which I'm not even gonna guess because I'm gonna embarrass myself. And this, what the fuck? Greenland? They even have. I mean, I guess they have people, but what the fuck?
Search for teams are domestic ones.
No offense.
Countries where football isn't the most popular sport. A map that will be familiar with long-term subscribers to this channel, my third most popular video of all time was about just this subject, each country's most popular sport. I added some symbols for that thumbnail and the video raked in over 1 million views. It's also one of the few videos that I've made in which a whole load of people have commented saying how much they hate football. Association football, that is. It's a pretty remarkable map in truth, which exhibits why the tagline of football being the global sport really is a deserved one. Cricket is the world's second most popular sport, but it comes nowhere near to football in terms of youth participation, professionals, attendances, or TV viewing figures. Clearly, football is the most popular sport in most of the world, but let's take a little look at some of the major countries in which football doesn't reign supreme. North America is perhaps the most obvious starting point, with Canada and the United States preferring the likes of ice hockey, American football, and baseball to association football. Then you have China and India, with cricket obviously taking top spots in India, and Australia, where Aussie rules, cricket, and even rugby league are preferred to association football. It is an interesting quirk of the world's sporting interest that whilst football is head and shoulders above all other sports in terms of overall popularity, it is not the most popular sport in 4 out of the 5 largest countries on Earth, in terms of populations.
Wow.
If this is a topic you are interested in, I would obviously recommend my own exquisite video on the subject for more information.
Dude, like, as an American, I mean, I knew how big football, soccer is across the world, but like, everyone thinks football's the biggest sport in America, which obviously it is, but like, comparative, like, cricket is bigger worldwide than American football, basketball, baseball, hockey. Like, I didn't even know it was that big, cricket. I don't know shit about cricket, but it must be popular. That's nuts.
Goals scored per country at the World Cup. I had made my own map of countries to have featured the World Cup, but just before I made this video I came across this one, which is much better, so I'm including it instead. Posted by Steroid Shake 32 on Reddit, the map shows how many goals each country has scored at the FIFA World Cup finals. By virtue of that fact, it also shows everything that my map would have shown, since even countries who have been to a World Cup and failed to score a goal are coloured in a darker shade of grey, meaning that you can see every country that has and hasn't been to the World Cup, plus much more. As you can see, there are
Canada?
5 countries who have scored 100 plus
Can't get
goals
one?
at the FIFA World Cup finals, namely Argentina, Brazil, France, Germany and Italy. Then there's England, Spain, Sweden, Russia, Hungary, the Netherlands and Uruguay, all having scored between 75 and 99 goals. Large parts of Africa and Asia still haven't qualified for the FIFA World Cup, meanwhile China, Canada, DR Congo and Indonesia have all qualified but failed to find the back of the net on a single occasion. It's worth noting that in the case of Russia, that is counting their goals scored as part of the Soviet Union, and Indonesia's only World Cup appearance came whilst the country was still the Dutch East Indies, and not a fully independent nation. What every country calls association football. I thought I'd end with something a little bit different, namely this map that was posted by Ed Hamden on Reddit 3 years ago, showing the most common name for association football across the world. As you can see, some variation of football is the most common form, whether it be futebol in the Portuguese-speaking countries or voetbal with a V in those that speak Dutch. A number of countries call the sport soccer, such as Ireland, Australia, and the United States, with many more calling it some variation of soccer, like soccer with a double K in parts of South Africa, or soccer spelt S-O-K-A in Papua New Guinea, Micronesia, and other archipelago in the oceanic region. And then you have one or two outliers who use words which don't have their roots.
I thought the US was the only country to use soccer. It's pretty interesting. I know Australia has like their own football, Aussie rules or whatever. So I wonder if that's why they call that soccer. And Aussie rules, football.
In either the words football or soccer, such as Malaysia and Indonesia, where they use the words sepak, meaning kick, and bola, meaning ball, to come up with sepak bola, literally meaning kickball. The obvious outlier on the map is Italy, as one of the only major Western footballing powerhouses that don't use some variation of football or soccer. Calcio, the Italian word for football, also comes from a word meaning kick, which in Italian is the word calciare. As I have said on this channel in the past when covering football,
how many times I've seen the word calcio and just like don't know what. I didn't know that was Italian for football. See, that's why we watch these videos, man. Learn something new every day. Unless you already knew that, then not bad.
Ball, soccer, kickball, or whatever you might want to call it, the word soccer is actually a British creation, as a contraction of the word association from association football. Football was originally used to describe a myriad of sports played on foot, rather than horseback. But as football became synonymous with only association football in Britain, the word soccer largely died out here, but not elsewhere. So that's it for today's video, but before I leave you, here is a map of all the countries which love HITC 7s, and where all the people from said countries ought to subscribe to the channel immediately if they don't already.
Word.
Check if yours is on there and subscribe immediately if so, and yes, you can subscribe using a VPN even if you live in China, Iran, Syria, or Turkmenistan. Thank you all for watching, give us a like if you enjoyed the video, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and make sure, as I say, that you are subscribed and have notifications turned on for the one and only
Yeah, make sure you'll subscribe to the homie. He makes really good videos. It's really interesting. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that one today. I did. I love watching videos like that. Just learning stuff. Yeah, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I had a couple comments already. I responded to them. Appreciate y'all. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.